Hello and welcome back to another Project Diablo 2 video. I am Kordesh and today we're going to be talking about the Curse Necromancer, specifically Dark Pact. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons of this build. So the pros, you have tons of utility. Curses are inherently very powerful for solo play, but more so for group play. Things like amplified damage at high level mixed with a very high level life tap can trivialize some of the content, including in-game bosses like Ubers. The CC that you can provide with things like Terror, Confuse, and Attract are very powerful. And another thing that Dark Pact has going for it is the area of effect is gigantic. Now, some of the issues and cons this build has is the single target damage is quite poor. The damage that you can deal to one monster is the same damage you can deal to pretty much an entire screen of monsters. So you're much better suited for farming the monsters in a map versus a map boss. The other con that I have is the ease of play is very poor. To do a single Dark Pact rotation, you would need to hit 3 different curse buttons and then Dark Pact, 4 if you have a Dark Force spawn. This can be very tiring and burn people out just by having to piano so many different keys. I believe that SmartCast, this league, is going to change it and make it much more appealing than it was in previous leagues, so I might be trying it out. But I did want to point out that if you like an easy build to play, stay away from this. This might be the most convoluted and tiring build that you can play for button mashing, so be warned. So today we're going to be talking about a bunch of different topics. Specifically, I'm going to be going over the attributes for the Curse Necromancer, then the skills, the gearing, the Mercenary, and then I'm going to do a maps showcase. So let's get into it. All right, so the first up are the attributes. And personally, I wanted to show that I have Dark Force spawn because this allows you to have a 4th curse, because the first line you see, you may apply an additional curse. Dark Force spawn is not a good block shield, in my opinion. So I do not opt for max block. I put enough strength to wear my gear, and then everything else goes into vitality. So that's pretty much it for the attributes. Very basic stuff. If you want to go for max block, you're more than welcome to. If you are running with a different shield, it's probably a better idea, but in my mind, not worth it with Dark Force spawn. All right, let's go on to the skills. All right, now let's talk about the skills. So for Dark Pact, this is not a leveling guide per se. If you want to level as Dark Pact, I suggest finding a group and then really just putting points in whatever utility is best for that. But for the in-game build, you're going to want to max Dark Pact, Curse Mastery, probably 1 point in every curse, and then depending on what you want to do, you can max other curses. So as you can see here, Curse Mastery and Iron Maiden both give the most damage to Dark Pact. However, the damage difference between maxing Iron Maiden and other curses is not that big of a difference. So as you can see, the damage on Dark Pact is really not that much. So you're looking at about 4,000. And so if we increase that by about 40%, let's go ahead and do some quick math. We're looking at about 5,600 damage with a Dark Force spawn to apply that 4th curse. So this allows you to apply a 4th curse. Not great magic damage, but it pretty much hits the entire screen, which is really, really nice for AoE. Now, as far as which 4 curses you should apply, it really depends on what you are doing and how you would like to approach the game. So right now I'm kind of testing Iron Maiden and I'm actually casting it. Specifically, I'm using that to try and increase my single target damage. I'm even trying to use a Act 2 Thorns Mercenary. I might have a follow-up video on how effective that is, but to be honest, he's not dying. I'm not dying. I don't really need Defiance. I don't really care. So I thought I would just try this out. But really, you want to max, other things. So specifically amp damage. Getting it to -60 is important. Once you hit that -60, you don't need to put any more points into it, because that is the hard cap on the PDR shred -60. So other than that, Decrepify, Personally, I think that this is kind of a 1 point wonder. It really depends on what kind of content you are doing, but you get the negative 10% physical damage resistance with 1 point. So if you need the movement speed and attack speed slow higher, sure, put more points into it. Personally, I think that it's just fine. I can kite monsters very easily with Decrepify without having to put a ton of points into it. Just having gear will get this pretty high. Next up, lower resist. I don't plan on running with casters, but if you do, obviously go for lower resist. I just put 1 point into it. I don't care about this. Now, life tap I think is incredibly powerful. As you can see, it already has a 44% lifesteal chance, and if you combine that with a decently geared mercenary, I mean, he will never, ever die if this is up. So that is very powerful. Other than that, you can apply Weaken, which is a defense and damage reduction, or Dim Vision for one, messing up ranged monsters' AI and their attack rating. Or you can cast things like Confuse to make monsters attack themselves, which works well with Iron Maiden. So really, I highly suggest picking the 3 or 4 curses that you think work best for you and then utilize that. Currently, if I pull it up, I'm going to be casting Amplify Damage, Decrepify, Life Tap, and then Iron Maiden. And the way that this works is, as you apply them, you're going to want to apply all 4 curses, and then, or 3 if you don't have Dark Force spawn, and then Dark Pact. And the way that it works is Dark Pact deletes the curse that was applied last. So in my case, I will be applying Iron Maiden last, so that will get deleted. I will then reapply Iron Maiden and then delete it again and go back and forth. And so that means I get that 40% damage bonus per curse over and over and over, but I only have to reapply 1 curse at a time. I just bounce between going from 4 to 3 curses. So I believe that is the optimal rotation. As far as the optimal curses, that's just, I'm kind of having fun using those. And that's pretty much it. As far as other builds and skills, I didn't put anything in summoning because with Dark Pact, there's so much masteries and synergies across all the different curses that I feel like you just keep putting points into any of this stuff and you'll keep getting damage. And really, I don't feel like making my curses weaker by putting into summons. I think it's possible that revives might be worth going, but personally, I just don't really care. It's also possible that you can put a point into bone armor, but again, with Decrepify, I felt safe enough that I didn't really care. So this is how I built it. It's very customizable and works as a toolbox to tackle the problems that you are trying to face. So really make this your own. So that's pretty much it for the skills. Next, let's talk about the gearing. So there's a couple things that I think are completely mandatory for this kind of build. And the first one is the Black Hand Key. Now, the Black Hand Key has some really awesome stats on here. Specifically, we're getting +5 to the curses with +3 to curses, +2 to Necromancer skill, and 30 FCR. This is awesome. Having a level 7 Grimward is not terrible either, if that is something that you are interested in. If you're in a party that can benefit from that physical damage, that's not anything to completely scoff at. So it's, if you want to throw that out, that's fine. If not, who gives a shit? Just do whatever you want to do. The next thing that I think is also mandatory is the Dark Force spawn. Now this is incredible because you can get a +2 to curses and apply an additional curse with 30 FCR. All of this stuff is fantastic. The 5% chance to reanimate as Oblivion Knight is also decent. It provides just a couple extra monsters that'll fight and tank for you. But yeah, we're really concerned about the +2 to curses, and applying an additional curse increases the damage of Dark Pact and increases your utility. So just very, very good. Completely BIS shield here. So next up, the Trang's Gloves. Now this has 20 FCR with +2 to curses, so I don't think that you can possibly beat this. Really, that's all you care about. It's just fantastic. Other than that, you have plenty of options. Mara's for the skills and the resistances is great. I also think a blue +3 curses with +1 corruption would be a good option. But if you need the resistances, Mara's is probably your best bet. And really, I think those are the 2 options. The blue with the +3 curses and the +1 corruption, or Amara's. As far as your helmet, I think Harlequin Crest Shaco is very good. specifically because of the physical damage taken reduced by a percentage, as well as the flat life and mana and +2 to all skills. It's all just good. Really, a +2 skill helm would also, like any of the other unique +2 skill helms are fine. Or you could even go for a blue +3 to curses with a +1 corruption, because, you know, just getting your curses super high level is very useful. As far as a chest piece, right now I'm using a Q-Hagen's. Now, you're definitely going to want a +2 to all skills. I just, you know, put up on a +1. You could also use like a Skin of the Viper Magi for FCR, resist, and +1 all skills. If you're probably going full, you know, expensive stuff, Enigma is probably your best bet, so you can teleport around. But really, anything that gives +2 to all skills, or faster cast rate in plus skills, or resist, or whatever you need, just kind of figure it out and go for it. So I'm definitely going to upgrade this to a +2 to all skills. I just, messed up. The skill rings, we have a BK ring and SOJ. Really, any skill rings are probably fine. I just like to mix and match. And then we have an Arachnid's Mesh. Other than that, we have a Marowak. And the Marowak is pretty nice just because of the fact that we have cannot be frozen. Now, if we had that CBF Corruption Slam on something else, then I would probably use different boots. But other than that, this gear is pretty fine for me. We also use Curse, Grand Charms, and Andean Torch, and then whatever small charms work for you. Obviously, these are insane because I'm on the beta and I can make whatever I want. But I definitely really recommend using your small charms to round out your resistances and get resistance capped. As you can see, my resistances are kind of bad. So I'm going to go ahead and throw on the Skin of the Viper Magi, get it a little bit better. And yeah, I think I'm missing like Anya quests or something. I'm not even sure. But yeah, so that's it for the gearing. All right, so now that we have the Mercenary, really you can use kind of whatever you want. I'm a huge fan of Leviathan and String of Ears. I feel like once you have these two items, your Mercenary becomes so tanky that, you know, it's very, very difficult for them to die. On top of that, I'm going to be applying, where is it? It's right here, Life Tap, for 44% lifesteal. So if we see how much lifesteal my Mercenary has, 14% plus 44, we're looking at 58%. I mean, that's going to be absurd. You know, I just put on Vamp Gaze, but really, you can use a Tal's Helm or anything. Laying of Hands for the 20 increased attack speed, and then Marowak's just for CPF. As far as the weapon, right now I have an Insight because this build seems pretty mana hungry, but it's possible that you can use something else. Maybe, what is it, Doom, which grants Holy Freeze is fine. Or another good option would be to gear out a Mercenary from Act 5 and get Battle Orders and have them do Whirlwind. So you can see this has Whirlwind and Battle Orders. That's definitely something to test. Personally, I just wanted the Insight for the Meditation Aura, but you definitely have options here. So that's it for the Mercenary. Now let's jump into a map. Alright, so we rolled a pretty good map. This has 40% increased max life and the 35% increased velocity, so pretty brutal. But this has 243% density, and really with Dark Pact, you're looking for as much density as possible because the amount of time that it takes you to kill one monster is the same for everything on the map. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Like I said, I have a Thorns Mercenary, and I'm going to be using Iron Maiden, and we'll see if that kind of increases my single target. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. And I would like to note that I have a mechanical keyboard, so it is going to be a little bit of clicking for the map. So yeah, just heads up. I did want to show I'm at the 125% FCR breakpoint. That's because I have Skin of the Viper Magi. And yeah, we're clearing pretty quickly, pretty well. It's a lot of casting, a lot of kiting. If I had a Delirium, it'd probably be a little bit easier to kite, so I can just teleport around. It's very difficult to do a full optimal rotation just due to the fact that the monsters sometimes don't live that long. So I wonder if it's just, on a lot of this stuff, if it's just better to blow it up repeatedly to make sure it just dies. And you can see we're clearing pretty well, pretty quickly. My Mercenary is not even close to dying. And we've summoned a lot of different monsters. Oh no. Taking a little bit of damage. So luckily, my charms are really good. This is a very dangerous map, and I took a ton of damage there. But luckily, because this gear on the beta is so good, I didn't die, but I probably would have died there. And that was really just me having amplified damage and not kiting properly. The increased velocity on the cows definitely is a problem. Personally, I'm not sure if I actually even like the 125 FCR breakpoint because, yeah, you can cast faster, but it's so difficult to make sure that you actually get all the casts off with SmartCast. It would definitely take some practice to make sure that you are casting properly. But yeah, we're clearing pretty quickly, and yeah, lots of stuff on the ground. We have a lot of magic find in this map. Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, we're looking at, okay, 68 magic find. That seems, is that right? Oh, 42% magic find. So yeah, I guess it's all density. So this map, it seems like it's just going to be looking for runes and not really many items. As you can tell, I don't have a ton of magic find other than the Shaco, but that's really okay. You know, that's something that you can care more about when you're rolling your maps. And if we wanted to talk about my rotation a little bit, you know, simpler, I'm applying amplify damage first, so I'll do this kind of in slow-mo. So amplify damage, then decrepify, then life tap, then Iron Maiden. And then after that, I blow up the Iron Maiden, reapply it, blow it up, reapply it, blow it up, until they're dead. So all four, Dark Pact, back to Iron Maiden, Dark Pact, etc. And these are not the curses that you have to use, they're just the curses that I'm using. But yeah, this build definitely works pretty well. I'm honestly leaning playing this character than some other, my Battlecry Barbarian. And the main reason that I'm kind of leaning towards this, it's not that I enjoy the build more, it's that the Battlecry Barbarian seems much worse for bossing. So I'm definitely going to be playing with some friends, and I want to be doing things like Diablo clone with them, or Ubers, or even possibly Rathma. And the Warcry Barbarian would be, you know, decent as a supportive role. However, the Cursed Necromancer with Dark Pact is going to be insane just because of the fact that you can apply Amplify Damage, Decrepify, and Life Tap, and then bounce like Dim Vision or Weaken. Probably Weaken. And yeah, that's just going to be really, really powerful. I feel like I've had amp damage for a very long time. So, but we're just going to make our way towards the boss and show you kind of what the single target looks like. Like I said, I've been kind of testing this Thorn / Iron Maiden, and hopefully that's enough to make it a little bit better on single target. Oh god. Okay. Hit recovery, not the best. Those big explosions where they all die is pretty satisfying. It's kind of a lot of kiting. Oh, that's a fanaticism. Yikes. Well, I just completely obliterated the pack. That was That was impressive. I mean, we got the increased velocity and the fanaticism, and yeah, we just obliterated all of them before they reached me. So that felt pretty good. My merc has not been in danger of dying at all. So again, that's pretty good. I've been a little bit in danger, and that's just because I'm not playing as positionally as I need to, and that's okay. We got a Row rune on the ground. Nothing important. I'm not using a loot filter just because I'm going to activate a potion real quick. Normally I would have like health or mana potions. Again, this build's fairly mana hungry. Yeah, I think that the insight is really good. But if you could get like Holy Freeze on a merc, that would be the safest thing that you can do between Decrepify and Holy Freeze. So looks like we should be able to kill this boss before it runs out. And the rotation will be a little bit easier on a single target because my Mercenary will be able to tank it. And I won't have to kite as much. Hopefully. Oh god, that's really bad positioning. You can see some of these elites are kind of taking a little bit longer to kill. Looks like we got a sparking male. Is the boss on this top right area? Let's check it out real quick. I think it might be, but I don't know. I know it's like once you're in the gate, it's kind of like up here. Oh, here it is. It's got to be through this gate. I'm just going to grab this mana potion off the ground and back to spamming my curses. The curse sound is not unpleasant, but not the most pleasant build. And it has the Dark Pact has the same sound as Corpse Explosion, I believe. So, not too bad. And the build can definitely be optimized as far as your playstyle. Like if you play better, you'll waste less casts. There's a shale rune on the ground. Alright, there's a cow queen. Let's see how fast we kill it. Well, I'm definitely taking some damage here. Looks like we got a conviction aura going. There's a lot of different other monsters around. Oh, I'm being attacked. Alright, welcome to the single target for Dark Pact. It's, pretty bad. Yeah. It's just not good. But you can see my mark is, like, not even close to dying. Life tap is just insane. You know, trying to use Iron Maiden over and over. Honestly, with a lot of the single target stuff, you could pretty much just, not AFK, but kind of just let your merc do whatever. I'm casually just grabbing some potions. And the boss is dead. So yeah, that's kind of a showcase on the single target. It's not pleasant. I I don't know if Iron Maiden and Thorns is the answer. It's probably not. It's just... Yeah. So that's just something you're going to have to figure out. And I hope that this gave you some insight into the mapping of the character. And yeah, I'll hit you up with the outro. So that's it for the Dark Pact and Necromancer. I'll see you next time.